Hi, welcome to another 30-minute Pilates. If you haven't done one of the classes before, please watch the pre-class information video and we will get started. So we're going to start with our setup. We're going to make sure our feet are together. We're then going to turn our toes out and we're going to take our heels out to join them. So take a quick glance down, check that they are where they're supposed to be. So roughly hip distance apart, and think about grounding down in your big toe, your little toe and your heel. So your weight is equally distributed. Coming up to your knees, you want to have them nice and spongy, so just give them a little bit of a wiggle. To our pelvis, we're going to imagine on those front hip bones, we've got two little headlights. Now they're going to be on and they're going to be forward and they're going to be level as well. So we're not hiking the hips too much side to side. Inside the pelvis, we're going to imagine we've got a really full bucket of water. So that is going to be level too. So what we don't want to see is any of this. So you want to make sure you find the midpoint there so we're not sloshing that water around. Coming up to our midsection, we're going to think about pulling the belly button back towards the spine. It's going to be about 30% engaged. So just really slightly pulling that back, keeping that midsection nice and engaged here. We're then going to knit our ribs down towards our pelvis as well. So we're not crunching ourselves over, we're just thinking about pulling those down. So we've got this nice cylinder shape around here that's tense all the way. We're then going to take a deep breath in through our nose. We're going to pick our shoulders up towards our ears. We're going to push them back. And then we're going to breathe out through our mouth and slide the shoulders down. Fantastic. So breathing into the nose. Breathing back out through the mouth. We're going to do a couple more times. So just really think about squeezing the shoulders up towards the ears. We're making that movement slightly bigger each time. If you want to close your eyes, you can. I'm going to do that once more, and then we're going to slide our shoulders down our back. Fantastic. So I want you to think about lengthening up to the top of the spine now. So imagine you've got that cord in the top of your head and it's just pulling you up towards the ceiling, growing nice and tall. We're going to do our lateral flexion. So this is for our spinal mobility. So lengthening up, breathing in through our nose, breathing out through our mouth, and we're just leaning side to side. So I want you to imagine you've got a pane of glass in front and behind you. So just here, and you're just sliding in between those panes of glass. Trying to keep the hips relatively level as well. So try not to push the hips too far out, keeping the bottom part of the body nice and still. Breathing into the nose, breathing back out through the mouth. We're going to go one more each side, then we're going to finish back in the centre. We're going to do our spinal rotation, so making sure our setup is ready. We're pulling the belly button in, tucking the pelvis slightly. Just going to place the hands lightly on the arms, lengthen up through the spine, breathe in through your nose, and then rotate the shoulders round. Back into the centre, round the opposite way. Fantastic. So breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth on the movement. I want you to think about keeping the hips forward still. So you've got those headlights on the hips, so we're not twisting from the ankles. Hips are staying nice and still. We're rotating the shoulders round. So we're moving from the waist up. I want you to kind of imagine that from your hips down, you're stuck in concrete. So you've stood in some new concrete and you're stuck. We're going to go one more each side. I'm going to bring that back into the centre. And we're going to float the arms down. We're going to do a quick little warm up. So we're going to do some curtsy squats, which are also known as ice skaters. So you can start with your feet as they are. I'm just going to clasp the hands together. We're going to transfer the weight slightly onto one foot. We're going to take the other foot behind, and then we're going to kind of lunge down. So we're curtsying down and we're bringing that back around. So take the foot behind, bend the front knee, take the back knee down, bring that back up. Brilliant. So I want you to keep the belly button pulled in towards the spine. You're going to hinge from the hips slightly. So you'll lean forward ever so slightly, but the chest is still staying upright, nice and tall. Now if you can take the knee down towards the floor and onto the floor, fantastic. If not, if you can just do a small movement, that's absolutely fine. I want you to think about squeezing the glutes and pushing back up through the heel and through the toe. So we're equally distributing the weight as we push that back up. In through the nose, out through the mouth on the movement. We're going to go one more each side. Back up into the center. Fantastic. We're going to do our roll downs next. So check your setup, make sure your feet are underneath the hips. Lengthening up to the spine. We're going to breathe into the nose. On the out breath, we're going to tuck the chin. We're going to roll the shoulders slightly. And we're going to take the hands roughly towards the knees. We're going to breathe in when we get as far as we can. And then we're going to breathe out, and we're slowly going to roll that back up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Finishing with the shoulders, then stacking the head. So breathing in, breathing out, tucking the chin, rolling the shoulders. Vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling that down. Breathing in at the bottom. Breathing out, bringing that back up. Just try and relax the arms, relax the shoulders. Really think about tucking the chin in. So you want to try and give yourself as many double chins as you possibly can. We're keeping a little bit of tension in the belly button. And you may just need to give the glutes a little bit of a squeeze on the way back up as well. And this just helps support the lower back. And see if you can take it down a little bit further this time. I'm going to do one more. We're going to finish down. So take your time rolling that down. When you get as far as you can, put a nice bend in the knees. We're going to place each hand on each elbow if that's comfortable. We're just going to take a couple of breaths here and just let gravity pull the head down towards the floor. So we're just decompressing the spine. And this should feel quite nice if you've been sat or stood up all day. When you're ready, we're going to come down onto our knees. We're going to be in a high kneeling position. So we've got a couple of new exercises today. We're going to do a high kneeling side plank with a leg lift. Once we've done a couple of those, we're going to come up into an oblique crunch. We're going to go back down into the leg lift. So it's got a little bit of a flow between two movements. So make sure you've got enough room either side of you. We're going to have the knees roughly hip distance apart, so check they are where they need to be. We're going to take one leg out towards the side. Now you can have the foot pointed or you can have the foot flexed, it's completely up to you. But we want it pretty much straight out towards the side. We're then going to place the other hand on the floor. So if you can just manage fingertips, you can manage fingertips. You can place the palm, place the palm. If you have wrist problems, you can also place the fist on the floor as well to support that. That's absolutely fine. You want to make sure it's roughly underneath the shoulder as well. And we're going to have the shoulders stacked on top of each other. So we've got a nice flat line, like we're in that side plank. Pulling the belly button in and thinking about lifting up through the ribs as well. So we're trying not to sink down into it too much. We're keeping everything nice and tense. And we're going to place one hand on the side of our head. If you want, you can place it on your hip. We're going to start with it here. And we're going to lift the leg. And we're going to do it 3 times. So breathing in, breathing out, lifting that leg 3 times. Think about squeezing the glutes. Fantastic. We're going to keep the leg there. We're going to lift that up with our other hand on the side. And we're going to crunch that over. So we're going to lean over as far as we can. We're going to bring that back up and we're going to take that back down. So place the hand back down. Fantastic. We're then going to lift the leg. So 3 lifts of the leg. So breathing into the nose, breathing back out through the mouth. Once you've done the 3, place the foot down, breathing in, breathing out, bringing that arm up, crunching that all the way over, trying to keep the shoulders stacked one on top of each other, bringing that all the way back. Fantastic. Lifting the legs, so breathing into the nose, breathing back out through the mouth. 3 lifts, bring that up, crunching that over, taking that back down. We're going to do one more of each. So 3 lifts of the leg, 1 crunch, and then we're going to switch sides. Fantastic. Breathing in, breathing out, bringing that all the way back down. Fantastic. So we can bring the leg in, and we're going to switch sides. So transfer the weight slightly onto the other knee. I'm going to take that leg straight out to the side. I'm going to place that hand on the floor. So again, you can place the palm flat. You can be on the fist or onto the fingers, whatever's the most comfortable. But making sure the shoulders are stacked in a nice line, keeping the belly button pulled in. I'm going to place the hand on the side of the head, breathing in, breathing out, pulsing the leg up 3 times. Placing that down, lifting that up, crunching that all the way over. Back up into the center, taking that down. Fantastic. Breathing in, breathing out on that movement. 3 more pulses. Bringing that back up. We're keeping the movement nice and slow and controlled, trying to work with our breath. Squeezing the glute, keeping the shoulders stacked. You'll find one side is more difficult than the other as well. One last time, pulsing that leg. Bringing that up, crunching that over, back into the center. Take that down. Fantastic. So we're going to bring that in. And we're going to do a kneeling leg lift. So we're doing it with the leg behind this time. So we've done these a few times. Now you can be up on your hands or you can be on your elbows. It's completely up to you. Make sure your knees are roughly underneath the hips. You can bring them further forward. Think about keeping the belly button pulled in. We're going to take the one leg back. We're going to breathe in on the out breath. We're going to pulse the leg 3 times. Place that down. Breathing in, breathing out, pulse 3 times. I'm going to do it one more time. So breathing in, breathing out, pulsing that 3 times. Really think about squeezing the glute as you do this. Bring that knee back in. We're going to do the same the other side. So we're going to do 9 in total. Breathing in, breathing out, pulsing the leg 3 times. I want you to think about keeping the hips as relatively still as you can as well. So we're not throwing the leg into the air. We're keeping it nice and controlled. We're squeezing the belly button in. Breathing in, breathing out. Place that back down. We're going to do another 9 on the original leg. So back to that first leg, breathing in, breathing out, pulsing that leg. Squeezing the glute, keeping the hips level. And then switching sides. So once you've done the 9, we'll go back to that second leg. Set yourself up first. Make sure you're nice and level. Work with your breath. Bring the knee back in. I'm just going to sit back in child's pose. So place the hands in front, place the head on the floor, and just take a couple of breaths. In through the nose, back out through the mouth. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to do a split sequence for our leg stretches. Now we've just worked them, so I want you to come back up into a high kneeling position. We're then going to extend our one leg out in front of us. So we're going to point and flex that foot. Take the leg slightly out to the side just to give yourself a nice balance. And think about keeping the knee nice and straight too. We're still keeping the belly button pulled in. And we're just pointing and flexing that foot. Fantastic. I'm then going to place the foot flat on the floor, bend the knee, and push the hips forward into our hip flexor stretch. I'm going to place the hands on that front thigh. So we want to stay up nice and tall for this, because we really want to think about stretching down the side of the body. You'll notice if you're up like this, you'll get a really good stretch. If you bring the hands down, the stretch actually changes and it comes more into the front part. You kind of lose a lot of the tension here. So we want to make sure we're nice and upright. We're still lengthening the spine towards the ceiling. We're breathing in through our nose and back out through our mouth. And as we do, we're just going to sink the hips slightly further. Okay, we're going to push back through that leg, and the one that's now straight out in front, we're going to take it out to the side. I'm going to place the hands on the floor. Now I want the knee to be facing forward, and you should feel a stretch down the inside of the thigh. And if you want to stay here, you can. You can always sit back and place the elbows on the floor if you'd like a little bit more of a stretch. Wherever you are, just take a couple of breaths. And just think about relaxing those muscles. Bring that back up into our starting position. So that high kneel, we're going to take the opposite leg forward. Just stride that out in front, point and flex the foot. And then going to bend that front knee, push the hips forward, place the foot flat on the floor, and just drop the hips down. Again, placing the hands on the thigh, we're lengthening up through the spine still. You should feel that stretch all the way down the front part of this body here. Breathing into the nose. When you breathe out through your mouth, just think about sinking the hips further down. Push back through that foot, and then going to take the leg that's out in front straight out to the side. Knee forward, make sure you feel that stretch on the inside of the thigh. If you want to stay here, you can. If you want to sit back, down onto the elbows, you can do that too. So breathing into the nose, back out through the mouth. I'm going to bring that back up. I'm going to come over into a seated position for our lovely core work. I'm going to switch it up and face this way today. So we're going to be sat nice upright. We're going to do our Russian twists first. You want to have your feet roughly hip distance apart. Knees are roughly hip distance apart as well. We're going to just clasp our hands together. We're keeping the belly button pulled in. Now you want to be nice and lengthened through the spine. And we're going to lean that back a little bit. So we're not doing any of the C curve into the spine. We're keeping that nice and upright. So nipples towards the ceiling as much as possible. Breathing in, breathing out. We're going to twist side to side. So keep the movement nice and slow and controlled. And a lot of the time, if we're in the gym, we tend to power these out as quick as possible, which does make it a little bit easier. I really want you to think about keeping them nice and slow. So twisting side to side. If it becomes too easy, just lean further back. Don't worry too much if your feet move. Try and think about keeping them stable. But if they do, that's not too much of an issue. Breathing into the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, we're going to go one more each side. Bring that back into the centre. Place the hands down. I'm going to do one really slow roll down. So you can place the hands on the thighs or you can take the hands off. We're just going to really slowly, we're going to C-curve the spine this time. Roll that all the way down. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to change my position slightly so you can see me. I'm now going to do something called swimming arms. So we're going to think about keeping the belly button pulled in. So the lower back is going to be connected to the floor the whole time. We don't want the lower back lifting up. So we're really thinking about that hollow body position there. But a lot of it is all to do with our arms. And you'll notice as you take the arms up, your body will naturally want to arch. So really want to think about fighting that and keeping that down towards the floor. So the belly button pulled in, keeping that in contact with the floor. The arms are by the side. We're going to have our knees bent up, roughly hip distance apart. We're going to bring the arms up. We're taking them all the way overhead. We're still keeping the lower back into the floor. We're then going to take them all the way around. And we're going to repeat. So breathing in, breathing out, taking the arms around. We're keeping the whole of the back still into the floor. We're taking the arms nice and slow. Into the nose, back out through the mouth. Make sure when you take the arms up overhead, you're not arching the back, we're keeping that pulled into the floor. So the ribs are staying knitted down. We're going to do one more this way and then we're going to take that the other way. So we take the arms out to the side first, all the way up, bring that down through the centre. Again, keep the whole movement nice and slow and controlled. As you take them out to the side, again, just make sure that you're keeping that lower back down into the floor. So really think about pulling the belly button down, not letting that lower back lift. So we're imprinting the spine into the floor, into the mat, the whole movement. Okay, we're going to do one more and keep that nice and slow and controlled. Once you're done, just place the arms down by the side. And we're going to do our glute bridges. So just keep the knees pulled in. So you want them roughly hip distance. Feet are going to be close towards you. We're going to pin the shoulder blades down to the floor. We're going to breathe in through our nose on the out breath. We're going to squeeze the glutes. We're going to push to the feet. And we're going to slowly peel the spine up off the floor into that ski slope position. Breathing in here, breathing out, and then slowly placing that down vertebrae by vertebrae, finishing with the bottom of the spine. Breathing in, breathing out, curling that up. We're pushing through the feet, thinking about pulling up on the inside of the thighs to keep the knees where they need to be. So we're keeping them nice and stable. We're pulling that belly button in, so we're tucking that up, we're pulling that in. We're knitting the ribs down and towards it as well. So we're keeping this whole midsection nice and tight. So you're just kind of imagining you're wrapping yourself up in cling film. So breathing back in at the top, breathing out on that movement. We're going to do two more, so take your time and just see if you can slow the movement down. So maybe count to about 7 or 8 and just see how stable you can lift. You want to make sure that the pelvis is lifting up at equal speed as well, so you're not pushing through one leg more than the other. bringing both sides up at the same time. Placing that back down. Fantastic. Once you've done that, just bring the knees into the chest and just stretch the glutes out slightly. So really think about hugging those in. Take a couple of breaths. We're going to keep our knees pulled in. We're going to do our leg scoops. So I want you to think about keeping the belly button pulled down to the floor. We're going to curve the shoulders up slightly. We can place the hands on the floor, we can lift the hands up. So we're going to keep the knees in. We're going to scoop the one leg down. We're going to take it along the floor. And then we're going to bring that back in. I'm going to do the other one. So take the toe down, take that along, bring it back in. So we're scooping the leg along, bring that back in. So breathing into the nose, breathing back out through the mouth. And if you can do it without touching the toe on the floor, even better. You want to extend the leg fully and then lead by the knee as you come back in. So we're leading by the foot on the way out and then bringing that back in with the knee. Breathe into the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Keeping the belly button pulled down so we haven't got any gap here. We're going to do one more each side. Bring that back in. Then I'm just going to hug the knees in again, wrap the arms around and just tuck the chin in and just rock side to side slightly to release the lower back. And then you're going to extend the arms out, extend the legs, and we're going to take a nice long body stretch. So fingertips to toes, really stretch that out. And place our arms back by our sides. And place the feet on the floor. We're going to take our right leg, we're going to cross that over our left leg. I'm going to take our arms out to the side. We're then going to let the knees drop towards the left-hand side. And we're going to take a couple of breaths here, just twisting the spine. And you should get a nice little glute stretch here as well. Okay, bring that back into the center. I'm going to uncross the legs this side. Cross them the other, let the knees drop towards the one side. Breathing into the nose, breathing back out through the mouth. Bring that back into the center. I'm going to uncross the legs. And we're just going to roll over onto the side and bring ourselves up into a comfortable seated position. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here and bring your awareness back to the room. Thank you very much for joining us again. Please like the video, subscribe, drop us a comment with how you felt you did. Any questions, as always, just drop us a message. And we'll see you again soon. Thank you.